This is a time of darkness in American politics. Neither party is up, both are down.
Fairy tales are nice, but maybe not so real.
We can't find an example, certainly in recent history, of an incumbent with numbers this bad getting reelected.
It started just a few months ago, and it's already spawned sister movements the world over, from Dame Street to State Street. But the Occupy Wall Street phenomenon has old-fashioned principles at heart, and at its core is a deep concern about what's happening in New York, about the growing gap between rich and poor, about the students who've paid fortunes to be educated, only to find an economy which has cruelly locked them out. These people are from the political left, from the very heart of the movement that brought Barack Obama to power, and they're not happy.
I don't think the president understood how adamant his political opposition was in undermining his presidency, and it becomes tremendously frustrating because the vital reforms and changes that we need to restructure our economy, to re-regulate our economy and create those protections in the system for consumers and workers right down the line, that's been entirely denied.
It's like that pendulum swing. Well, it will swing. It's over, all the way over to the right. It will start swinging back towards the center. I don't even care if it goes to the left. Please, just let it come back to the center.
More of what could loosely be called Obama's people have thrown their weight behind the Occupy movement. Even the mainstream teachers' union has offered practical support and agrees with their analysis.
We're a very rich country. Yet we know that most of the wealth now is really concentrated in that top 1%. The cuts are really so deep now. Communities are suffering a great deal. Half the households in New York City are below the poverty line. That's half. And, you know, we're the income disparity capital of the United States.
If you refuse to immediately remove your property from the park or refuse to leave the park, you'll be subject to arrest.
The Occupy movement may have been pushed out of their home for the moment in pretty controversial circumstances, but the ideas they've championed have found traction. And it's well to the left of Barack Obama and the Democratic Party establishment. Better news for Obama may come from nearer his home base. Winter is closing in on the campus of Notre Dame University, and its students are starting to turn their attention to serious matters, including the upcoming political season.
They said this day would never come.
Students were more energized by Barack Obama than by any other political figure since Jack Kennedy. So how do they feel now, after 3 years of a stagnant economy and so few new jobs?
There's been some disappointment that the change hasn't come as quickly as they like, or they feel as though the president hasn't done enough, hasn't made good on enough of his promises. But for the most part, I think, you know, many students are still hopeful.
Some of the initial excitement has faded down as people have seen how his policies have played out. So there isn't as much optimism as there had been.
I think the past 3 years have also been a lesson in, you know, realism to some extent for many people, because fairy tales are nice, but maybe not so real.
The headquarters for the Re-elect Obama campaign is here in nearby Chicago, where the full machine is up and running, plotting the strategy of how Obama can win a second term. And not surprisingly, there's great sympathy for his difficulties here.
He sold himself very well, and I think people had unrealistic expectations. You know, they expected him to walk on water. And I think probably he found that the job of president was a little bit harder than he expected. But overall, I think he's doing a good job.
People are very partisan these days. But I think he's trying very hard, and he's doing the best he can with what he has to work with.
Chicago appears rock solid then. This, of course, is hometown for Barack Obama, and those who know him say he very much has Chicago in the blood, and he remains tremendously popular here. But it takes more than winning Chicago to become the next president of the United States, and he really has a mountain to climb. The economy's in trouble, and unemployment is very high. The president's approval ratings are down there with Jimmy Carter's. 3 years of economic turmoil are having an effect.
Neither party is up, both are down. Every measure of where the country is economically is to the detriment of Barack Obama. So in that sense, should he win, it would be counter to most of American political history.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
But of course, President Obama is living testimony that history can be overturned, and he's trying to rebuild the excitement that brought him to power. A lot depends on the other side.
Tonight, 7 contenders will be on this stage to convince you he or she should be the Republican nominee for President of the United States.
Who will be his opponent? Will it be Rick Perry, outspoken right-winger from Texas in the George W. Bush mold?
Sign right here? Yes, ma'am.
Or Michelle Bachmann, former tax lawyer and icon of the right?
Unemployment is over 9%.
Or Herman Cain, the pizza man, the outsider with little political experience?
Of the name and reputation.
Or the consistent favourite in the polls, the moderate, the man in the middle, Mitt Romney, Mormon businessman from Massachusetts, in his second attempt to win the nomination.
So the Republicans are gleeful. They think they're going to win the presidency. They're hopeful about winning the Senate. They believe they'll keep the House of Representatives. And they're looking towards 2012 and then 2013 as Republican control of everything.
But there's a fly in the ointment. The Republican Party is not united. There's pressure from the right-wing fringes. And to get an idea of what the Tea Party people really believe, I went to the American Southwest, to Nevada, where mainstream Tea Party views are easy to find.
America is based on capitalism. If we go in and we try to help everyone, then we're turning into a socialist country. That is not what we are. That is not where we want to go.
So you're saying to those people who are in those problems, tough.
That's right.
You got to get it out.
We can help them through the churches. We don't want anyone to go hungry, but we don't owe them an education. We don't owe anybody a house. We don't owe anybody a new car.
We don't owe them good credit. We don't owe them a credit card. We don't owe them a college education.
And
they
on
have
top
to
of
work.
that,
It's called work.
If there's more of them than the people working, how much more can we help them anyways? They're just going to deplete us, and then we'll all be begging at the door of the government for a bag of rice, I don't know, like they do in Cuba.
You know how Nevada.
It's easy to dismiss the Tea Partiers as extremists, but their brand of simple nationalism has struck home in difficult times.
This is about freedom. It's about being pro-Constitution. It's about family. It's about God. It's about America as we know it, and we want it to stay that way.
The Tea Party is backed by Freedom Works, an organisation which funds and supports their views.
The Tea Party is very much anti-establishment. It is, we always say we're looking for a hostile takeover of the GOP. It's kind of like a business enterprise. We don't like the leadership and who's running it and the policies, so we're going to try and take it over.
Hey guys, hi, how are you?
And here's the real problem for the Republicans. Their most energized group has no time for the current favorite, Mitt Romney.
We have a problem with Mitt Romney and his issues and his record. When I look at all the other candidates, one thing that they're all doing is they're all talking our language. They are all with us on the deficits. They are all with us on spending. They are all with us on the need to actually start cutting government, not just reducing the rate of growth, but actually getting in and cutting billions of dollars in spending.
The big question about them is this. If Romney gets the nomination, which is, I think, most likely, far from certain, but most likely right now, will they accept him or will they stand in his way? Will they put up an independent candidate? Because right now, Tea Party groups are running ads in some of the early primary states that show President Obama looking in the mirror and seeing his reflection. It's Mitt Romney. Their argument is Mitt Romney is no different from Barack Obama, and they hate Barack Obama.
It seems as if the most dynamic parts of the American political world are the most extreme, the least likely to want to compromise.
On both the right and the left, with the Tea Party and the Occupy Wall Street, we have people with sincerity and the feeling that the country isn't working the way that it should be, and hence they start something else. They start their own movement. It used to be said that a healthy democracy plays itself out right at the center. But increasingly, our politics have changed, and they've gone to the right, they've gone to the left.
Not for the first time, a stagnant economy and high unemployment has caused problems for an incumbent Democrat and given impetus to the fringe groups that are dominating debate just now. Moderates of all sorts are struggling with less than a year to go to the presidential election.